Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of our CRUD series. In our first video we looked at how to read our information in our products table, and in this episode we'll look at how to create an item. So without any further ado, let us jump straight into our code. Alright, so this is our products page. And we are going to need a new file in order to create our product. Actually, we can, instead of creating a new file, a better design option would be to use a modal to be able to stay on the same page and add new products. So let us jump over to Bootstrap again. Just click on the Components tab and scroll down and you'll see modal. Right, so the way modals work, they are built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and they are positioned over everything else in the document. Alright, so we can scroll down and see an example of a modal here. Let's do the live demo modal. So if we click launch demo, you'll see here that our modal pops up over everything else on that web page. Right? So you just click off of the modal to close it, or you can click on this close button. So let us use this modal in our web page. So let us copy this code right here. Instead of highlighting everything, you can simply click the copy button here, and it's now copied, to our clipboard. So let's navigate back to our products page, and we can put our modal right here before our table starts. So let us paste that code right here, and if we save it and refresh our products page, we should see our launch demo modal button, and if we click on it, okay, so nothing is happening when we launch our modal. So we can inspect this page to see what is happening on the page. So if we go to the console tab, okay, we're seeing here that it's failing to load our CSS jQuery. It's failing to load our Bootstrap resources. Okay, so let us check and see what is going on with that. Alright, so let's see what's going on in the head of the document. So, as I said in a previous video, a better design would be to create an includes page, and I believe I'll do that at the end of this CRUD series in order to have a uniform inclusion of the head of our file and all the dependencies that go with it, and also everything that goes here in the body of our file. So let me cut this section here, and I'm going to put everything in the head of our document. Okay, so all our dependencies, jQuery, our CSS files, and so forth are now in the head of the document. And now remember that we have these files in our JS and CSS directories. So this file, we can hit our control button, and let's remove these sections. So all our CSS files are now in our CSS folder, and all our JavaScript files and jQuery files are now in our JS folder. So this should be JS, and this should also be JS. Let's change this. This should be JS, and let us now save it and refresh our page and see what we get. Okay, so now it's successfully loading those dependencies. So if we click on launch modal, now we see that our modal launches. Alright, so let us close this and let's add some space here so that our page looks a bit better. So let's add a header. So let's put an H3 and let us say these products. Close that H3. And let us also put a break statement. Let's put a couple of them after our modal button. Save this. And if we refresh, okay, so that looks a little bit better. And now we have our modal that is launching. So inside our modal, in the body here, we want to ensure that we put our form fields that will add products to our product table. So that's really easy to do. So let us go to our modal section. So here we can see this is the modal body and these are the 3 dots that are showing up currently. So I am going to use a table to format my fields. So let us just start a table. Alright, and in our table head, we are simply going to put a row and name that row add product. So we're going to say add product. Let's close it. So let us save it and just see, make sure that we're getting the desired. So if we, right, so we're going to add a product. Okay, so now we can continue with the body of our table. So let us open up a table body tag. Alright, and now inside here we want a row and we're going to give it a class of table row. Remember, this is a bootstrap class. And now let us add our data. So first let's do a TD and then let's add a label in here. So the first section that we want to add, we're going to enter product code, name, quantity, and price. So remember, the product ID is set to auto increment, so we don't have to input a value for that. So we just need product code, name, quantity, and price. So the first label will be product code. And the second row will be our input, and type is equal to text. So the name of this field will be, let's call it product code. Let's give it a class of text field, txt field. And now let us close this. So first we need to terminate that, then close it off. So now I am going to copy this section here, and then of course let's tab this section out, and now let us close off our table row. So let's close this. So what I'll now do is copy this section to match all our input fields for our products. So we'll need another section for name, quantity, and price. So let us change these labels accordingly. So this is name. So let's change this to product name. This is quantity. And price. And now we'll need a button to submit our information. So before I even enter that button, we should remember that this is a form, and we want to ensure that we have our proper method. So our method is post. And we are going to post. We're going to now create that PHP file and post to this file. So let us create new, create that PHP. So once this form is submitted, so the action will be equal to create that PHP. So that file will handle the data from this form. Okay, so now we can edit our button details. So in this table row, we simply need an input type of, let's give it a name of submit. And type is also submit. And let's also give it a value of submit. Ensure that we spell it properly. Submit. Okay, so now we can save this and let us simply echo out form data method. Okay, so let us save this, and now let us refresh our products page. We launch our modal, and you see here we now have our fields for code, name, quantity, and price. And of course we can change the name of this to let's change that to add. So if we refresh this and launch our modal, and really and truly we don't really need a name there, so let us remove this label altogether. And what we can do is enter a call span. So let us say call span equals 2. Save it. Okay, so now when we save and refresh this, let us check it out one more time, see how it looks. Okay. Alright, so when we click on submit, we'll see here form data is submitted. Alright, so our form handling is working nicely. So now in our create PHP file, we have to deal with our data that's coming in. So of course we have to include or require. I think we have been using require once in our database. And now we can check, so we can say if is set, and we are going to use our super global post, and we're checking if it has submit data. We are now going to query our database, or create a query that will add these items to our database. Okay, so in this case we are going to use prepared statements, and prepared statements help us with making sure that whatever data is being entered into our fields, we will prepare those values using some question signs, and this helps with validation, it helps with security, and it ensures that, you know, we can sanitize our inputs before we send any data back to our database. So let us do that. So let us use our connection, and let us prepare So now we're going to say insert. Of course, we need our double quotes, so we're going to insert. And most times I prefer to put the query, store the query inside a variable. So let us do that. So we're going to say insert into products. We open up our brackets, and remember we need the same name that our database tables are, so we're going to be inserting into these fields. So product code, name, quantity, and price. So first off we have product code, name, quantity, and price, and we're going to insert the values. And let's make sure our space is here. So the values, right now we're not sure what the values are, so we're just going to put some question signs. So one question sign for each field in our prepared statement. And now we can actually use that query here. So let us plug in this query. All right. So now we can grab those values that are coming in from our submit form data. So let us create variables that will store these values. So the first value is code, which is equal to, and now we need the names of these fields in our input fields in our form. So the first one is prod code, prod name, prod quantity, and then prod price. Okay, so now we say post, so prod code, and let's say finally price. ensure you're using your square brackets. Okay, so now that we have these fields, we can now bind these parameters to our query. So here we will say SQL, and you want to bind params. And the first, so we need one S for each. The first one is code. Name, quantity, and price. Now we have to verify that this SQL has been executed successfully. So if SQL has been executed, we want to send a message. So I want to set our success. Successfully, else set our message. And then we want to terminate our connection, so we can say SQL and also we want to close our connection. Okay, so let us save this, and I believe we didn't close our connection here, so we want to ensure that we're closing SQL. So let us copy these two lines. We always want to ensure that we're closing our connection in order to save our resources. So let us save that. So let's go back now and let's try adding a product and see if we are successful. Okay, so first there's an error. So in products on line 118, okay, so it doesn't like this. All right. So let's just remove this line. So we launch our modal now, so we can enter a new product. So now let us enter a belt. Okay, so this is our timing. And our price, let's say this is about $830.50. And now we click on submit. Okay, so we did not get an error. So now let us check our database. Let's refresh this. Alright, so now we see that our timing belt has successfully been added to our database. So now we don't want to be stuck on the create.php page. So if we go back to our products table, we see that our timing belt is now showing up in our table. But what we would like is, once we have added a product, that it just navigates us back to our products page. So what we can do for that, we can add a section here in our create code. that navigates us. So once a product is added successfully, we want to navigate back to our products page. So we already have similar code that does that in our project. I believe it's in our, let me see here, it would be in our login script. So this is our login script, and here once we have successfully logged a user in, this section that says header will navigate us to the page that we want. So let us copy that line, and here let us paste it. And in this instance, we want to navigate back to our products.php page. So let us save these files. So let us refresh, and let us add, first let us change the name of our button. So here in our products, in our modal button, okay, here we go. So we want to say add product, so we can now save it and refresh. Okay, so let us click on that. So now let us try adding a new product. What can we add now? So let us add a lug nut. So LGN. So this is a lug nut, and one lug nut will cost, let's say, 150 and 15 cents. And let us submit this. And right, so once we submit it, it brings us back to this page. Alright, so as you can see, we're not actually using these buttons on our modal, so we can just remove them for now, or we can just remove this Save Changes button, or even better, we can let us change it to where are we? This is our input type, submit. So let us change this type. Let's change this to an instead of a button. Alright, let's not too concern ourselves with that right now. So we can just remove this section for now. As I said, what you want to focus on first and foremost is functionality, and afterwards we can always focus on design, right? So at least now we can close. So what we can do is add this section. So let us just copy this or cut it. We can add it here. And we can give it a class name. So let us copy this and let's give it that class name and save it. Come back, refresh our page. Okay, so now we have that functionality there. Alright, so one more, let's add one last product. So let's see what else we can add. Okay, so let us add a rim. 16-inch rims. Let's say $6,420. Okay, so let us now submit. And once we click on submit, there we go. We see our product now added to our table. Alright, so there you have it. That is how you create or add a product in your table. So in the next video, we'll look at how to edit one of these items, and then in our final video we look at how to delete. Alright, so thanks for watching.